Hey, what's up everyone? Nurse Jar here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and kick that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video and any other video that has been helpful to you. And if you like to be notified whenever I upload new content or go live, go ahead and ring that notification bell. In this CNA training video, I will be demonstrating and explaining to you how to perform the 2025 Prometric testable skill, performs catheter care. All right, people, so for this skill, you are required to collect supplies. You will collect 10 supply items. And as you see on my overbed table, I have these items organized in the exact manner in which I'm going to use them. The first item I collected was a Chuck's pad to use as a clean barrier. Keep in mind, you can also use a towel as the clean barrier. Then I have a wash basin, one pair of gloves, a Chuck's pad that I'm going to use as a linen protector. You can also use a towel or a waterproof pad as your linen protector. I have 5 washcloths and soap. 10 supply items in total. As always, before each bedside skill, you will need to knock on the door, greet and address the resident by name and title, introduce yourself by name and title, and explain the procedure. Hi, good morning, Mrs. Jones. I'm Julie, your CNA, and today I'll be cleaning your catheter. Before I get started, I just want to make sure that your bed is in a low safe position, and it is. Your bed wheels are locked. I'm going to give you your call light within reach, and I'm going to provide you with privacy by closing your privacy curtain. Mrs. Jones, before I go wash my hands and gather my supplies, is there anything I can do for you? All right, are you comfortable? All right, Mrs. Jones, I'll be right back. Washing hands. Okay, so I'm collecting a clean barrier. You could also use a towel as the clean barrier. I'm collecting another Chuck's pad to use as a linen protector. However, you can also use a towel or a waterproof pad instead of a Chuck's pad for the linen protector. I'll also collect a bath or wash basin, 1 pair of gloves, 5 washcloths, and soap. All right, Mrs. Jones, I have all of my supply items. I'm just going to go to the sink and fill the basin with some water, okay? And I'll be right back. For this skill and any other water skill, you are required to test the temperature of the water first and then allow the resident to test the temperature of the water. You can do this while you're at the sink filling the basin with water, or you can wait till after you filled the basin with water and have returned to the bedside. You can test the water with your finger, with the underside of your wrist, or with your elbow. You can also test the water with a gloved hand. So I'm turning on both taps because the temperature of the water has to be moderate. And as I'm testing the temperature of the water, I'm going to verbalize out loud doing so. I'm testing the water. Now I'm filling my basin with water. And now it's time to return to the bedside. Mrs. Jones, I've already tested the temperature of the water and it feels good to me, but now I'd like for you to test it to make sure it's a comfortable temperature for yourself. All right, thank you. After I've gathered all of my supplies and I have them at the bedside, I've tested the water, I've allowed the resident to test the water, I am ready to work. But before I begin cleaning the catheter, I need to raise the height of the bed to a comfortable working level for myself. Mrs. Jones, I'm going to raise the height of your bed so I won't hurt myself, okay, while I'm cleaning your catheter. The next item that I have on my overbed table are my gloves. So this will prompt me that I need to put on gloves now. Mrs. Jones, I'm just putting on my gloves. The next item that I have on my table is a Chucks pad. I'm going to use this Chucks pad as a linen protector. Remember, you can also use a towel or a waterproof pad for the linen protector. Before I prep my linen protector, I'm going to go ahead and uncover the resident so I can see what I'm doing. To uncover the resident without overexposing the resident, you'll want to lower the top sheet to knee level and raise the gown to hip level. If you raise the gown any higher than hip level or lower the top sheet any lower than knee level, that's considered to be overexposing the resident. Now that I have the resident uncovered without overexposing the resident, I'm going to prep my linen protector by unfolding my chucks, rolling it away from me, making sure it does not come into contact with my clothing, and then I'm going to line it up to ensure that it's going to be completely underneath the resident's buttocks and peri area. Now, there are two ways in which you can place and remove the linen protector. You can either move the mannequin closer towards you and then slowly and gently turn them onto their side, or you can manually raise the resident's hips. In this training video, I'll be manually raising the mannequin's hips. Mrs. Jones, I'm just placing my arm underneath your legs. When you do this, you want to make sure that your arm is high on the thigh, okay? So when you do raise the hips, you have complete control. If you place your hands lower, this is what will happen. Okay, you will have absolutely no control. So you want to make sure that your hands are high on the resident's hips. All right, Mrs. Jones, on the count of 3, I'm going to raise your hips. 1, 2, 3, and I'm just placing the linen protector. Okay, I'm going to lower your hips now. I just want to make sure, double check that it's completely underneath your buttocks and peri area. I'm going to raise your sheet back to knee level and ensure that your gown is still at hip level. While you're placing and or removing the linen protector, if the gown or sheet is manipulated, all you have to do is just recover the person, okay? All right, guys, now it's time to start cleaning the catheter. So I have my washcloths separated. I have 2 here, 2 here, and the 5th one here, okay? This will let me know that I need to wash and rinse the insides of the labia majora. I also need to wash and rinse the catheter itself, and then I need to dry the insides of the labia majora and the catheter. So the first washcloth, I'm going to wet it, squeeze it out really good because you don't want any water dripping, okay? So I squeeze it out really good. I'm going to open it completely, and I'm going to apply soap to all areas of the washcloth. Then I'm gonna make sure that I get the washcloth soapy or sudsy, right? And y'all can see the suds here, okay? Nice and sudsy. I'm going to fold it into 4s. And then I'm going to hold it to where I have the 4 open leaves of the washcloth on top. You'll only be using 2 leaves when you're cleaning and rinsing the insides of the labia majora. Mrs. Jones, I'm getting ready to clean your labia majora, okay? So while cleaning the labia majora, the catheter will be here, but you can just gently move the catheter to one side, and then with 1 leaf, clean the insides of the labia majora. You're going to flip the leaf over to expose a clean area of the washcloth. Clean the inside of the other side of the labia majora, just like so, okay? Once you're done with this washcloth, you can either hang it over the wash basin, or you can create a dirty area away from your clean supplies and place it on your clean barrier here. I like to hang it over my basin, so that's what I'm gonna do, but just know that you have 2 options, okay? The second washcloth, I'm going to wet it, squeeze it out really good, and I am not going to apply soap. The reason why I'm not going to apply soap is because this is the washcloth that I'm going to use to rinse the insides of the labia majora. Again, I'm going to fold my washcloth, right, to where I have the 4 open leaves on top. And the same way that I washed the labia majora from front to back, I'm going to rinse in the same manner. Mrs. Jones, I'm going to rinse your labia majora now. So again, I'm using a clean leaf and I'm rinsing from front to back. I'm gently moving over the catheter and rinsing from front to back on the inside of the other side of the labia majora. I'm going to place this washcloth on the side of my basin. The third washcloth, I'm going to wet. Squeeze out really, 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 really good, because you do not want water dripping, okay? Again, I'm going to open this third washcloth up completely, apply soap to all areas of this washcloth. And then I'm going to get it soapy, sudsy. And then fold it back into quarters. And this is the washcloth that I'm going to use to clean the catheter. Mrs. Jones, I'm getting ready to clean your catheter. Before you clean the catheter, you want to make sure that you secure the catheter so you will not pull or tug on the catheter. You'll do so by holding the catheter at the meatus. The meatus is the opening of the urethra. So while you're holding on to this catheter, your fingers should be touching the labia majora. So once I've secured the catheter at the meatus, I'm going to take the washcloth and wrap it around the entire diameter of the catheter and slowly and gently in a downward motion clean the entire length of the catheter. Then I'm going to gently place the catheter back down onto the linen protector, remove the washcloth, and now I can remove my hand from the catheter. Now with my fourth washcloth, I'm going to wet it, squeeze it out really good, and I'm going to keep it in quarters, okay? With this washcloth, I'm going to rinse the catheter in the same manner that I just washed it. Mrs. Jones, I'm getting ready to rinse your catheter. Again, I'm holding it at the meatus. I'm wrapping the washcloth around the entire diameter of the catheter, and then a downward motion. I'm slowly and gently rinsing the catheter. I'm going to gently place it back down onto the linen protector, remove the washcloth, and now I can release the catheter. I'm going to place this washcloth on my basin. All right, guys, I have one washcloth remaining. With this washcloth, I'm going to dry the insides of the labia majora and dry the catheter itself. As with washing and rinsing the insides of the labia majora, I'm going to hold my washcloth in the same manner where I have the 4 open leaves on top. Again, you will only have to use 2 of the 4 leaves. Mrs. Jones, I'm going to dry the insides of your labia majora and your catheter. So again, I'm gently moving the catheter over to one side and working from front to back. I'm drying the insides of the labia majora. I'm going to flip this leaf over to expose a new leaf and dry the other side of the inside of the labia majora. Now that I've done that, I'm going to flip the washcloth over in its entirety so both sides are clean. In the same manner that I wrapped the washcloth around the entire diameter of the catheter when I washed and rinsed, I'm going to do the same thing with drying. So, holding the catheter at the meatus and wrapping the washcloth around the entire diameter of the catheter in a downward motion, I'm going to slowly and gently dry the entire length of the catheter, gently place it back down onto the linen protector, remove the washcloth, and now I can remove my hands. And I'm going to place this washcloth on the side of the basin as well. Now, the most forgotten step for this skill is the removal of the linen protector. While you have the residence still exposed, this is the best time for you to go ahead and remove that linen protector. Mrs. Jones, I'm going to go ahead and remove the linen protector now. The same way that I placed it, I'm going to remove it. So I'm just placing my arm underneath the highest portion of your thighs. And then on the count of 3, I'm going to manually raise your hips and remove the protector, okay? 1, 2, 3. Making sure it does not come into contact with my clothing. Okay, Mrs. Jones, you can just relax your legs. Now I'm going to recover the mannequin by pulling her gown down and raising her sheets. Now I'm going to dispose this Chucks pad that I use as a linen protector into the waste bin. If you used a towel or a waterproof pad, you'll need to dispose of it into the soiled linen hamper. Now I'm going to collect my soiled linen and dispose of it into the soiled linen hamper. You want to make sure that no clean or dirty supply items come into contact with your clothing whenever you're gathering your supplies, when you're transporting supplies, or when you're replacing supplies back into storage. What I'm going to do right now is empty the water in this basin into the sink, rinse it, empty the rinse into the sink, and then dry it out. I'm emptying the basin into the sink. I'm rinsing the basin. I'm emptying the rinse into the sink. And then I'm going to dry the basin. I'm going to make sure that I get the basin completely dry. Once I've dried the basin, I'm going to replace it back into storage. I'm going to go grab the soap, replace the soap back into storage. And I'm going to remove the clean barrier and appropriately dispose of it. I'm going to dispose of my linen protector into the waste bin, but if you use the towel as the clean barrier, you want to make sure that you dispose of it into the soiled linen hamper. Now that I've either disposed of or replaced back into storage supplies, I'm going to remove my gloves without contaminating myself. Dispose of them into the waste bin. And immediately verbalize washing hands. All right, Mrs. Jones, I'm all done. Now, I'm just going to make sure that your bed is in a low safe position, and it's not. So I'm going to lower it into a low safe position. I'm going to make sure that your bed wheels are locked. You still have your call light within reach. Mrs. Jones, would you like for your privacy curtain to remain closed, or would you like for me to open them? Open? Okay. Just going to replace the overbed table. We're going to get your privacy curtain open. All right, Mrs. Jones, is there anything else that I can do for you before I leave? Would you like some water or a magazine? No? Okay. Are you comfortable? All right, Mrs. Jones. Well, you have a very good day, okay? All right. I'll see you later. Washing hands, skill complete. All right, guys, that's it. 2025 Prometric catheter care. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I guess I'll see you later in the next video. Y'all have a good one. Ciao. Love ya.